The Italian Wine Podcast is the community-driven platform for Italian wine geeks around the world. Support the show by donating at italianwinepodcast.com. Donate €5 or more and we'll send you a copy of our latest book, My Italian Grape Geek Journal, absolutely free. To get your free copy of My Italian Grape Geek Journal, click support us at italianwinepodcast.com or wherever you get your pods. Grazie mille.
Welcome to this special Italian Wine Podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through italianwinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode on Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner. So for today's Clubhouse, we have Russ Lorber from our Italian wine community. So hi Russ, how are you?
Hi Leica, I'm well thanks. How about yourself?
I'm fine. I think I published your episodes on Italian Grape Geek. So I had fun editing that one.
That's right. Hopefully I didn't give you too much work with the editing.
No. I just had to remove the ending part.
That's right. I forgot I did that.
Yeah, you did. Anyway, so now our show for today, you are here on Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner, and you have selected Nicoletta Pala as your favorite producer. So before we begin, I would like to introduce you first to the audience. So first, Russ is the founder of Wide Roots, a wine import and wholesale business based in Baltimore in the US. The philosophy of Wide Roots is to work with family-owned small producers making terroir-driven wines, growing responsibly and sustainably. The company combines this with education delivered through tastings, events, and social media. He is a certified Vinitaly International Ambassador and the subject of the documentary Wine Hunter, a story about his entry into the wine business that is streaming on YouTube. So tell us about this documentary, because I remember you were here and it was a pinning here in Verona, right?
That's right. So yeah. And the crazy thing about that was I had no idea how it was going to go. So if I didn't get pinned, it would have been on camera for the world to know. But I did get pinned, which was great. So yeah, we 3 years ago started working on a project to make a wine documentary. And my inspiration for that, truthfully, what I was really inspired to get into the business that I'm in by, there's an importer in the U.S. named Kermit Lynch. He's an importer of French and Italian wines. And back in the 80s, he wrote a book called On the Wine Trail in France. And that was one of my inspirations to get into the business. What I really wanted to do was to write that book for Italian wine, but make it in documentary format. And so I started working with Krissa on that project. And the more Krissa and I talked about it, the more she wanted to make a documentary about me, which was a bit uncomfortable because I don't really like to be the center of attention. But she thought there was a story there that was worth telling. And so that's how we ended up doing the Wine Hunter project. And if you do go and watch that documentary, you can see, you'll meet Nicoletta there because we spent some time in the cellar at Audarya and going through the vineyard and interviewed Nicoletta also. So it's kind of a great opportunity to really see what they do. And I think in this interview, you obviously get a flavor for the philosophy there that they have. But that's a little bit about the Wine Hunter project. So I think we've got something like 7,000 views so far on it.
Right.
I was a little bit hesitant to do that project, but I think in the end, Krissa really did a good job of telling my story, and it's something I do take pride in.
Right. And I'm actually going to connect that to another question. So why did you select Nicoletta Pala as your favorite producer?
So I have to be clear about something for the world to know, and that's that I don't have any favorite producers. So I can't have favorite producers. Okay. Otherwise, I'll have some angry people.
It's your first Clubhouse. And she's your first choice.
So that being said, you have to choose somebody. And there were a few reasons that I wanted to choose Audarya and Nicoletta. One is because of Sardinia itself. And so Audarya is located in Sardinia, which is about a 30-minute, and their location is about a 30-minute drive due north of Cagliari, which is the capital city. Sardinia, I've been there a number of times now, and it's a special place for me. It's one of these places that my friends here in Baltimore are probably tired of hearing me talk about, because I love going there so much, and they're probably thinking, I wish you'd stop talking about it and move there so we could come and visit you there. But Sardinia is a very special place. There's a way of life there that I think you just have to be there and experience it to understand it. It's just the relative level of stress is very low, and the sense of community is very special. And there are a lot of hidden gems there that I think are waiting to be discovered culturally, and then also with food and wine. And then the other reason that I really wanted to talk about Audarya and interview Nicoletta is that Nicoletta's family really embodies what gets me excited about wine. So they have a philosophy that we're going to get into, and I don't want to steal Nicoletta's thunder, so I won't. I'll let her talk about that. But they stick to that philosophy religiously, and they are uncompromising when it comes to the quality of their product. And so it's really special, and I think they've been in the wine. They've had a winemaking operation, I think now for close to 10 years, although they've been growing grapes for a much longer time. But they really are an up-and-coming producer, having received the Tre Bicchieri designation for now 3 of their wines from Gambero Rosso. And so I think they should really take a lot of pride in what they do. And I'm really excited for Nicoletta to share that message with the VIA community and the broader world.
Yeah, exactly. So when did you discover the wines of Audarya?
So Nicoletta, it's quite a story.
Okay.
So Nicoletta, I met Nicoletta 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago, in fact, in New York City. And it was the 2020 Gambero Rosso Tre Bicchieri Roadshow. And so Nicoletta was there pouring a couple of the wines of Audarya. And for me, it was my very first event as a wine professional. So I had no licenses, no anything, but I was trying to put together this sort of look for people that I could work with. And so I had a little bit of imposter syndrome at that event. Like, I was wondering, what am I doing here? And everybody else is going to figure out that I don't really belong here. But it was really, by the end of that event, I just felt so energized by what I experienced. And Nicoletta was one of the people that I met during that show. And it's when you meet Nicoletta, it's impossible to forget her. She has a very magnetic personality and exudes passion for what her family does and for their winemaking operation. So that particular event, Nicoletta was pouring the Vermentino, the Cananal, and the Bovale. And so I got to taste those 3 wines. And little did I know that was really just the beginning when it comes to what they do. And so over time, the pandemic did its thing and wreaked havoc on the world. But Nicoletta and I managed to keep this connection going. And eventually we tasted together the Naragas and the Monica that they produce. And then over time, as I got the chance to visit Sardinia and go to the cellar, I got to explore even more of their line. And so we got to taste the Malvasia di Cagliari and also their dry Nasco. And they also do a Nasco in a dessert style as a late harvest wine. So over time, I really got to experience all of those wines, and it's just been so amazing to experience such a great quality product made by a family that is just so generous. They're so passionate about what they do, and they're so generous about how they share that with you. And I feel like they've virtually adopted me into their family and made me one of their own. So it's really been, I think, quite a journey, and I'm so grateful to have this connection with Nicoletta and a friendship, even more so than a business connection.
Yeah, actually, that's what I also like about the Italian wine community, Italian wine producers. Like they would take you in as part of the like one of the family, and that's the kind of hospitality I think the wine world needs. And so, since we're a little bit geeky here, and we have our Italian wine ambassadors here listening in. So hello, hi guys. So we wanted to ask you, what are the learning objectives that we should expect from this interview?
So I'm going to hit the learning objectives, but I just want to say something. I want to touch on something that you just said about, and it was kind of going back to the Wine Hunter documentary. We interviewed Stevie for the documentary, and I will never forget. There were moments in shooting that I will never forget, and this was one of them. Stevie was asked, "What is Italian wine about for her?" And her answer sent a shiver down my spine. Her answer was, "Italian wine is about Italian wine people." And that rang so true for me because, you know, I have the great opportunity to work with so many wonderful people, and it's all very special. So getting back to the question, the learning objectives, and sorry to kind of derail the question there, but I really kind of felt passionate about sharing that. So that I have two learning objectives from the interview, and one is they're both centered around why I wanted to interview Nicoletta. One is to build some familiarity with Sardinia and its wines. And so, Vermentino and Cannonau are the most familiar to people when they have any familiarity about Sardinian wines. But there's really so much more there to explore that is it's really interesting and exciting and different from what you'll get anywhere else. And then the second that I really want to get at is audarya's philosophy as a winemaker. And I think this is going to build on the first objective to an extent, because there's a real passion about working with native grapes, not only of Sardinia, but their specific location in Sardinia. And so they take great pride in the Vermentino and the Cannonau, but they're even more excited about what they can do with locally important varieties. And some of those grapes aren't always easy to work with. And so I think what they do really kind of stands out in the world of Sardinian wines. And so I hopefully, I think those two things people should take away from this interview.
Okay, so I'm now going to mute myself and I give you the floor.
Okay, very good. Nicoletta, are you there?
I'm here. Hello.
Ciao, Nicoletta.
How are you?
So I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Already.
Nicoletta, together with your brother Salvatore and your father Enrico, are the driving force behind Audarya, and I'm really excited to have you kind of talk about what you and your family do. But just to start the conversation, one of the things that we wanted to talk about was what is, Sardinia itself and the wines of Sardinia. So you, I think more than anybody, have introduced me to this world, but I wanted to know from your perspective, what is unique and special to you about the wines of Sardinia?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank you, Russ, and thank you guys, because I'm so grateful for the connection. I would like to explain you how is Sardinia, because Sardinia enjoys a microclimate completely different from the rest of the mainland. Mild and windy days make the island a perfect area for the vine cultivation. Then we are surrounded by the sea, so the currents strongly influence the soil. That's allow for fresh, savory wines with mineral concentration. So I think that the secret about Sardinian wines is, of course, the soil, the land. That's because Sardinia, for its conformation, can be defined almost as organic area. Usually, while in other Italian regions, many treatments are done in a few months, for example, at the same time, we do 1-2 treatments. So that's very important because there is a strong connection between the land and Sardinian wines that are reminiscent of the sea and the land. So The white wines usually in Sardinia are very fresh and mineral. The red wines, like the famous Cannonau, are warm, powerful wines. Every state has a unique terroirs that makes the difference in Sardinian wines. So that's our secret at the moment.
Yes. So, and specifically, Nicoletta, you're located near Serdiana, which is about a 30-minute drive due north of Cagliari, and Serdiana is considered a locally important area for producing wine. So, what are some of the specific things that you would see that are special about Serdiana, like certain grape varieties or certain climates?
Sure. Sardiana today is, I think, the heart of Sardinian viticulture, because when you think about wines of Sardinia, Sardiana is a little town, but is special for wines. And I think that is a special area because Sardiana is surrounded by little hills, and the altitude is about 180,000 meters above the sea level. And also the climate is very windy and sunny, so that's perfect for the wine cultivation. We are in a special area because we are in a valley named the Valley of Sibiola, where there are more vineyards and wines than people, because the little town is about 2,000 inhabitants. So there are many wineries, and that's a great thing for all of Sardinia. So we are proud to be part of this area. Also, easy to have sapid wines and mineral wines. That's because Cagliari, the main city, is 20 kilometers far. So, of course, also the beach, the Puerto Beach, that's close to our valley. And that's the influence, of course, all the wines and the wine growers.
Yeah, and I love how that contributes that salinity to the wines, and you can particularly get that character with the white wines. And so it's one of those things that it's like, I think about it like when you cook and you add salt or seasoning to a dish, and just to the right level, it just kind of helps the flavors pop even a little bit more. So it is really special to have that location there. There's really a lot to experience in Sardinia, and I guess that's what keeps me coming back. What's special to you, Nicoletta? So there's a lot of culture, and there's also, there's some unique food traditions in Sardinia. So what's special to you about those as well?
Yes, of course, I'm proud to be Sardinian, and I love our culture, food, and lifestyle. I think that our lifestyle maybe is one of the best all over the world, because Sardinia is one of the 5 blue zones in the world, and the others are just little islands of Japan, California, Costa Rica, and maybe Greece. The blue zone are land where people live longer than average, and Sardinia in particular, it's a land of centenarians. The longevity of Sardinian depends about multiple factors. Of course, influencing life prospects are not only genetic factors, but also I think healthy lifestyle and the food. That's very important, because we have Sardinian Mediterranean diet that's rich in vegetables, milk, cheese, in particular goat and sheep cheese, and also animal proteins. The strong attachment also to the land and the family of origin make the Sardinian culture very special. Also, another nice thing is that we produce wines, in particular in Serdiana area, but Sardinia is a land of shepherds. There are 6 million of sheep in Sardinia, and we are an island of 1 million and a half inhabitants. And also we love to produce milk, cheese, and olive oil. So I think that olive, cheese, and a glass of wine are the secret for a long life in Sardinia.
I'm really glad you brought up the lifestyle, because I have customers that will they'll sell Cannonau and they'll say, drink this wine, you'll live to 100. and like, as much as I'd like that to be true, I just like, wait, there's more to it than that. And I think when you experience a place like Sardinia, you understand that there's so much more to it than the wine itself. And even the diet, I think there's something to that lifestyle, particularly the sense of community and the sense of family and friends and the relatively low level of stress. I don't think we understand the toll that stress takes on us. And myself having the benefit of living in a neighborhood where there is a very strong sense of community, I understand how important that is to me. And every time I go to Sardinia, I always feel like, the island adopts me every time I visit, which is really something special. So there's so much more to the Blue Zone, I think, than the wine and even the food. I really think those other factors are just so important. And that's probably one of the things that keeps me coming back. So you and your brother, Salvatore, decided at one point you wanted to start a winemaking operation. And your father, Enrico, had been in the winemaking business at one point and had gotten out of it. How did you make that decision to start making wine?
I think that the decision has been a natural process because I was born into a family of winemakers. So there has always been a great tradition of agribusiness in Sardinia, in particular in my family. For generation has always worked in the vineyards and produced mostly bulk wines. And so in 2014, 10 years ago, my God, just over the age of 18, I decided together with my brother Salvatore and the support of our father, Enrico, to start a new project, a project that's linked to the tradition, yes, and the land, but that want to look at the whole world. So we decided to produce the first bottle of Vermentino Audarya. Then we started with 37 hectares of vines. Today we are working 50 hectares. So we are going to grow slowly. I have never been to think to do something different in my life. When you born in a family of winemakers, I think that the natural process is to think about wine and to have your own winery.
So the grape growing history in your family and your vineyards go way back, I think, to it was your grandfather Salvatore. Is that correct?
Sure, correct. My brother is Salvatore Junior, but my grandfather Salvatore Senior in the 50s started to plant the first vineyards in Serdiana countryside and used to produce bulk wine. And all of the family was working in the vineyards. And then my father started to produce wine. And yes, in 2014, decided to work and together with my brother, we start with the new project. I think that the wine world is changing, no? So maybe my father is a lungimirant and he understands that okay, the tradition is important, but the young people have a completely different vision of the world.
I do want to get into that a little bit, but as we get into the philosophy that guides grape growing and winemaking, you work with quite a few varieties, Cannonau, Vermentino, but also some of the other more locally important ones that I look forward to exploring as we talk more here. Going back to your grandfather, Salvatore, has he always grown the varieties like Noragus, Nasco, Malvasia, or is that something that's relatively new to your family?
Of course, our philosophy is to produce wines just from native grapes from Sardinia. So Noragus, Nasco, and also Malvasia are important grapes for our production now, but they are historical grapes. Maybe in the past, for example, Nuragus was common to send the Nuragus all over Europe and to blend other international grapes because it's like a semi-aromatic grape. But now our philosophy is to make just still wines. So we produce, for example, the Nuragus, that's still Nuragus, the Malvasia, the dry Malvasia. And that's very important because I think that's important to exalt the importance of the grape. All of the traditional grape remember the Sardinian island, no? In flavors, parfums, everything. In the 50 hectares now, we are growing only typical Sardinian grape, not international. And we respect the environment. We are a special farming method named Integrato that respect the land, and we work also minimizing the use of chemicals. I think that the important thing is to follow the heart, the rhythms, the passion, and also to hear the Mediterranean currents, and also to pay attention to the cycles and season, respect the timing, and not practice massive exploitation. That's very important and is our philosophy to guide the winemaking process.
Coming back to America, Vinitaly International Academy, the ultimate Italian wine qualification will be held in New York City from 4 to 6 March 2024. Have you got what it takes to become the next Italian wine ambassador? Find out at vinitaly.com.
You've mentioned I think you said that you call it the integrato. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that what you just described, or is there something more to that methodology for agriculture?
Yeah, it's a particular methodology, and is not organic, but it consists just to respect the environment. We don't use the chemical because, in Sardinia, we don't need many treatments. The island, I told you, has a microclimate completely different from the mainland. I think that the most important thing about integrated is to work respectful of the land. Remember also our company's name, Audarya, because Audarians means nobility of spirit. In particular, we want to represent the value of the land, and we want to represent also the respect to grow the vineyards and also for the environment. So that's so important.
We've started getting into your philosophy, your family's philosophy around grape growing and winemaking. So locally important grape varieties is one part of that. Responsible agriculture is another. Can you tell us a little bit more about the philosophy when it comes to expressing terroir and particularly around how you age your wines?
Sure. We are two different lines of wines. The first one, that's the classic line where we are working with Vermentino, Nuragus, Monica, and Cannonau grapes. They are very fresh wines, ready to drink, vinified in steel tanks. Of course, they are aging in the still just for 7-10 months. Then we have another line that's the selection of 5 different wines made from different Sardinian grape that are Nasco, about the whites, Malvasia, Bovale, and then the dessert wine made from Nasco grape. The Malvasia, for example, is aging for 1 year in concrete tanks. Bovale is the only wine oaked, so for 1 year is oaked, and then is ready after 1 year and a half. The Nasco wine is aging in concrete. And then we have another Vermentino, Caminera, coming just from unique state, and is a particular wine because is staying in the concrete tanks for 1 year. 10, 12 months. So, of course, is more powerful in body and flavors compared to the classic Vermentino from the classic line. So we have different lines and different wines for different moments, I think, because wine is like a friend, so it's made to moment of share, and it's important to have the right wine in the right moment.
Yeah, there's always something for any particular situation. And I think, one of the things, I think, just to maybe close on philosophy and move to the next part, it's only the Bovale that's aged in oak. Everything else is aged in a manner that I think best expresses the character of that particular grape and that particular wine. And I think you talked about authenticity and your mission in your philosophy. And it's to me, it's those locally important grape varieties, but made in a way that you really experience the character of that particular fruit and the soil and the climate of where it comes from. And I think, when it comes to authenticity, you really can't do it much better than that. So you talked a little bit about the wine lineup, and we talked about the special selection line with the Nasco and the Malvasia, Bovale, Vermentino, and also your dessert style Nasco. Talk a little bit about the classic line, please. So you have the Vermentino and the Cannonau, but then also the Nuragus and the Monica. Like, what's the right moment to drink a wine like Monica, and particularly the version that you and your family make?
Sure. Monica is a very versatile wine, so you can taste it every day in different moments. In my family, for my grandfather, was like a daily wine, the Monica. That's because you can try it with fish, meat, pizza, everything. So I think that Monica is a very fruity wine, fresh, and you can try to chill it in summertime, and is amazing. I think that's the red brother of Nuragus, because Nuragus wine, the traditional wine from Cagliari area, we are just 7 producers of all over the world about Nuragus, so I'm proud of it. Nuragus is a white wine, but is very special because when we talk about Nuragus, we are talking about Sardinian history, because the name Nuragus, remember the nuraghi that are traditional stone buildings of Sardinia, so that's very important for our culture. And in the same time, Nuragus is a very mineral wine with a good acidity and semi-aromatic. In the past, was 90% of my grandfather's production. Now we have just few hectares, 7 hectares. So it's an important wine, but not so much diffused like in the past. So I think that's important to talk and to explain more about Nuragus and Monica that are traditional grapes. So I love them, and I hope to taste a glass of both to you.
I can't wait till the next time we get the chance to do that together. Nuragus in particular, I know you take a great deal of pride in that particular wine. I'm not sure that you can choose favorites from among your line. Nuragus is not an easy grape to work with. What makes it difficult to work with? And tell me about why you're so proud of that particular wine.
Nuragus is a particular grape because it's big bunches, so makes a lot of quantity of grapes. In the past was a good thing because it was common to produce a lot of bulk wine and to send it all over Europe. But now we select the quality. So in Nuragus, you have to take care of this grape continuous, because you have to check the bunches and to pass different times. So if is very hard to work Nuragus compared than Vermentino. I think that it gets lost also for this reason, because in the 70s, the government give money to remove the vineyards. So many producers without generational transition prefer to remove the grapes, and in particular the Nuragus grape, because maybe was more fashion the Vermentino, but in the same time because Vermentino is more easy to work in the vines than Nuragus. So now we are very, very proud because we are one of the 7 producers of Sardinia, and we are trying to produce a good quality Nuragus. That's a very hard goal.
Yeah, you're one of the few, and it's also 100% stated variety on the label as well. So, you can't kind of hide anything by blending something else into it. Just touching on the Monica, really, and I remember the first time you and I tasted the Monica together. As you said, it's easy to drink, more of a medium-bodied red wine, very fresh. I remember the first time I tasted that with you, and I just thought, this wine over-delivers complexity for, being an easy-to-drink wine. It still can really over-deliver on that. And it's really just kind of seeing the response to that, and we pour it for people, and it's so approachable, and we tell people how easy it is to pair with food, including poultry and seafood, and that makes it even more approachable because now you don't have to overthink the food part of it with the Monica. It's probably going to go with pretty much almost anything you put with it. Something that I enjoy myself pretty frequently, as much as I can. So you and I met at the Gambaro Roadshow almost 4 years ago, exactly. And I look forward to seeing you there in February. You just learned that you won, or actually when I saw you in September, you had just learned that you had won Tre Bicchieri for the Bessiu Nasco. The Nasco di Cagliari. How special is that for you? It's like in Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0, which is the reference text for the Vinitaly International Academy Ambassador Program, there's the scope is around top 100 grapes, and then there are the lesser known varieties, and then Nasco is in that lesser known variety. How special is it for you that you can get that kind of recognition for your Nasco?
I'm very proud of Nasco's success. It's true. The Nasco grape is little known outside of Sardinia. It's a particular grape that we can find just in the south of Sardinia, in Cagliari area. This award is very important, not only for Audarya, but I think for the entire Sardinia, because it's an historical grape variety. This important recognition invite us to believe more and more in native grapes and in the territory. The Nasco, it's a grape variety that in the past has always been used to make dessert wines, and few dry version can be found also now. It's a grape that I love because perfumes are related to musk and Mediterranean, and is a very gentle wine that's mineral and remind also our crystal clear sea. I'm very proud of Nasco. Also because the Nasco is one of the last wine we show in 2021 at the end of pandemic. So the name Bessiu, that in Sardinian means to go out, is like freedom wine. No? I'm so excited of this grape and this wine in general. I love the Nasco. And also my dog now is named Nasco. So it's a very funny connection.
Yeah, I did want to make sure that we hit on the Jack Russell as well, because it's clearly a special grape for you to name your adorable little dog after it. I think I told you about an experience I had once with the Bessiu Nasco, and I poured it for a sommelier in a Michelin star restaurant in DC. And this is a family-friendly podcast, so I can't tell you exactly the words that he used when he experienced this wine. but I will never forget it. He held the glass to his nose and he said, "What the blank is in my glass?" And I didn't know if I upset him or delighted him. And it turned out that I delighted him. So it's, he just went on and on about how good he probably tasted through your entire lineup and just was effusive in his praise. You touched on the character of it. It's got that musky sort of character in the aroma that's just, I can't describe it any differently than it just like, it smells like Sardinia. Like that's kind of, to me, is what that wine is like. You should be very proud of what you've done with that. The classic line, you have a line of labels, and we don't talk about packaging much, but one of the things that just really stands out about the lineup that I think the juice in the bottle is just so good. But the thing that keeps people coming back to it is that it's a very recognizable label, and there's a series of characters on the labels. Can you tell me about how you came across those characters on the labels and how they ended up on your bottles?
Sure. It's a very funny story because in 2014, when the first bottle of Audarya Vermentino was born, we were conflicted about what packaging use and what to do. We were looking for a dress that was new, modern, with a strong impact and identity. We found these shots in a French magazine, Le Parisien, are unique shots representing wine in a magical world and also with an international outlook. We were a bit confused because now the wine world, I think that's completely changed compared to my father's wine world. So the dress is very important because the quality of the wines, the technologies, it's the first thing and the first important thing. But when you are in the market, you can find a lot of labels. So you have to catch the consumer. When we found the labels, we said maybe they are something new for us. My father, that's a traditional man, was like, "Oh my God, but what are you doing? You are crazy." So it was a very difficult moment. But I think that the wine is like a friend, no? So made of moment to share with friends. And these labels always make you feel close to a friend. We believe in the power of communication and social media. I think that the labels are perfect for that. They are very important for us because you recognize the Audarya for the labels. So also sometimes at the restaurant here in Sardinia in particular, someone asked about the rabbit wine or the giraffe wine. So it's our identity now.
They do that in the U.S. as well. So two things on this topic. One, the daughter always wins. And two, the wine that your family produces is very serious and it's seriously good, but the packaging, I think the label, I love what your perspective is around that because it's just so approachable and down to earth. And so it's like it's a fun package that people recognize. Like they ask for the zebra wine, and the zebra wine is the Monica, and people love it, and they know they like the wine, but then they can find it because they know where to look for the label. So I love that, you can make a seriously good product that's also approachable, and at the end of the day, it's about people and togetherness and family and friends and celebration, which is really, no matter what, I think that's what wine is really the centerpiece of. So I definitely wanted to give you the opportunity to tell that story because I think it really goes a long way to what your worldview is when it comes to wine and what you do. And so we've got a little bit of time left here, and I want to leave some time for questions. What are some future trends for wine in Sardinia? I know you do a lot of networking and you attend events and you talk with other winemakers. What are some things that we might see in the future? You said you only produce still wines with Audarya, and that's very traditionally Sardinian, but we do see some sparkling examples every once in a while. So what are some trends that you see?
There is a lot to be done because Sardinia is an island of only 1.5 million people. We represent just 1% of national wine production. We have a lot of grapes to be discovered, and young people are making a great contribution in this regard. The important thing of the new generation, and also for the future of the wine in Sardinia, is to get closer to the nature and the production, to hear the nature. The new generation have important skills and international vision that is important also to bring companies together and to allow the territory to grow, because in Sardinia, one of the problems is that we are a few people and everyone thinks just for himself. I believe that the future will be of small wineries that are able to transmit farming values and to allow the territory to grow. Today, more than ever, human contact is very important. And so I think that the trend in Sardinia will be about authentic grapes, because there are more grapes undiscovered that are native grapes that are lost in the time, but that are very interesting. So I see a good future of wine in Sardinia. Yes,
there's so much there that's worth discovering. So I really hope that we see more and more of these sort of locally important, traditional, native grapes. And you and your family are on the forefront of that. Well, just to close, Nicoletta, first of all, who knew 4 years ago that you and I would be on the Italian Wine Podcast together? Can you imagine?
It's amazing.
I know, it is amazing. And so, and the other thing I think kind of leading into that is just, so proud of you and your family, and grateful to you and your family. And every time we pour your wines, I see your face and Salvatore's face and Enrico and Beatrice and Davide and everybody there. So it's just, there's so much more to this than wine for me. And I'm so grateful for our friendship and connection. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm grateful too. Of course, we work with love and passion, and you too. So that's our important connection, and I think also the key of our work.
I agree 100%. I couldn't sell anything if my life depended on it, but I can sell wine for some reason. So
listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.